Hey everybody, how it's going? Just wanted to show you all some of the next project here. We've got something called Project Puzzle. This is a first-person puzzle game, and thought it would be a good way to jump into actually working on stuff in the game engine here. I know last couple assignments was more of just kind of getting your feet wet if you haven't taken level designer in a while, just kind of a little refresher stuff. But now we actually start building things. So I'm going to make this available for y'all. This is technically on GitHub. I'm going to send y'all a link so you can download the files so y'all can actually use this. I'm going to run through here fairly quickly. Hopefully y'all remember how to use Unreal Engine from Level Design 1. I'll run through a couple of the things here. This is version 4.27. I'm just going to open this up here. File, open level. This is actually called the first person puzzle template pack. So this is actually a project from the marketplace. Great for making, just first person puzzle maps or whatever. Got some really cool things you can do with it. I'm going to go to the levels section here. And then I'm going to go and play through this demo level. There we go. Let's close this box. It's compiling some shaders. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hit... Is this the right one? I believe this is the right one. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Hit F11 here to go full screen. So if you've played something like Portal or Subliminal or anything like that, this may feel a little bit familiar to you. Got our little crosshair here, moving around with WASD. All the assets in this project are fairly simple. It's more about what you do with them. So I want to show you some of those little mechanics here. We can pick up objects, right? And everything has this really cool connection system. So like this cable here is linked to this little pressure pad, right? And when it receives input from a cube, right, with the same matching color, it'll send an output message to whatever it's connected to. So cube, pressure pad, the cable, and here's a little switch, and then the door. And you can link all those things together in really interesting ways. So this one is a bridge. I'm gonna put that in there and go across. Got an elevator here. Let's stand on it. Go back up. There's a little transition. So essentially, yeah, this is about how you can use these different little game mechanics to create some really interesting spaces. Maybe a little bit of storytelling as well. I don't know if you can hear the sound or not. There should be sound coming through. Right? So here's one of these other things. Let's see if this will come down. There we go. So we can ride this back up to the top. Alright, let's grab this. See if it'll stay on there. Oh, I fell off. Is the crate still up there? Yeah, it is. Alright. See if we can go up. Oh, I almost dropped it. I feel like I need to get on that one. There we go. And then we'll put this here. We've got a bridge going across. Okay. You see this one moving here. This has a timer on it, so some of these little logic things you can hook together with some sort of an effect on them. So this one just turned off because this was not connected. So that turns off. So let's wait here. I believe that's for the bridge. Let's go back this way. Okay, I got one side, right? And some of those things we were talking about and or y'all were reading about in the last assignment, assignment 2, is how to kind of guide players around with things that they can use or interact with, right? One thing that's nice about this pack is that they're using lots of color, right? The environment is a little bit kind of abstract and a little bit sciencey or whatever, but everything that you can use is very colorful, and those kind of corresponding colors kind of help you figure out what you need to do. So I'm gonna grab this one real quick. Oh, and I fell. If you notice that there was a timer, right? So after those 10 seconds are up, that's gonna stop moving. So probably when it gets back to where it started, yeah, it just turned off. So they knew that we had to get across a certain amount of time, but we're not gonna turn it off immediately. It's a little challenge to say, hey, can you get up here fairly quickly and solve this next part of the puzzle? I'm gonna go this way. Let's try this one more time. Okay, we're gonna take it off. We're gonna try to get on. And 3, 2, and then it's gonna stop. Yep, there it goes. If you notice, I turned both of these things on. If we look at the cables here and see where they go, should be able to take us back to the top over there. So it looks like I may need another cube. There might be one over there. Let's see what happens if we take this and put it on the other side. You can see some of these are lit up and some of them aren't. Let's try to put them both on this side. So yeah, it's lighting up that side, but not this side. So I'm gonna probably need some other cubes here. Yeah, so this one, you notice this is kind of moving up, back and forth. This here, we've got input coming in, right? So these two inputs are required for this to work, and this sends off two inputs as well. Kind of splits there. You see both of those are moving. Now there is, I believe, another cube somewhere over here, which we could probably use. I think it's behind the other side. But yeah, essentially this pack is for you to... oh, there's not one over here. Okay, I have to use the one I have. Essentially this pack is kind of designed for you to just... It's really plug and play. It's real easy to set things up. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. And I'll show y'all the overview level. And then I'm going to let y'all make your own map using some of these assets here. And that'll be your assignment for this next coming week. Let me turn off my notifications here. Okay, there we go. I'm going to open up the overview level. So the last one was the demo, just showing you how you can use them. This one actually shows all the different, interactive, blueprints and whatever that you can use. So, of course, you can click on any of these things. There's details down here. You can change them around, see what they do. If I press Control B, this will take me to the content browser. And everything is inside of the FPPT template, right? And inside of mainly the blueprints folder and Interactables. There are some other things for logic gates, so you saw some of those different inputs, outputs. So do once, there's a delay, right? And this is basically just a bunch of examples here. So if I hit play, you can kind of run around this map and see what things do. And everything's labeled, which is great. So like, here's a cube, here's an inverter. So like, this will turn on that, right? it switches that, and then the door state will change. So this is also a good lesson in just how logic works for games and systems. So in the future, you have to build a map, you have to script it out. So knowing how to do these things and setting up little gameplay encounters and things like that is very, very helpful. And this is a good way to start doing that. It just makes a little bit more sense when everything's visual. So you can see how this is connected. I'll shoot that one up. If I take this one off, it'll come down like a normal elevator. This one's kind of cool. These zones will toggle the cube, whether it's being used or not. So if you had a zone where, oh, this gets turned off, I can't use it right now. It'll be something cool to mess around with. There's kind of a square version and a sphere. Moving platform. These are really cool because you can just change their points, right? So if I get on this, it's going to go underneath the map here, just to show you it can move all around. There's a little sound on it while it's moving. And then you can have it come back to the start or reset. Lots of options in there. Kind of play around with, see what you can come up with. And some more of the interesting things. These are power blocks. So if I put this in here in the switch, see how these are charging, right? So you can send information in between them. You have all these different colors to use from, right? And they'll only work usually if you have the same color. I think there's one block that will activate multiple things maybe. I don't remember if that's a gray block or a white block. I'm not exactly too sure. One of these will activate all the colors, I think. Don't quote me on that. And then things like this are really interesting. So if you notice, this has power, right? There's the timer there. There's the inverter. It also requires input from this, right? And then those go to this, or it'll go through this over here. So this is just a bunch of those logic operations tied together. So if I take that off, goes the inverter. Okay, we've got power here. Now this one I need to flip it, right? So this is like a little checkbox essentially. Let's turn that off. Right? And then we're coming here, and this says that or this. So, and here's a timer. Actually, let's see if it'll. There we go. Okay. And there goes power to that. So yeah, just kind of moving these things around, connecting them together, see what they do. Got some really neat things. If I had both of these here, and then take this one off. See, notice it changed there because the input's changed. And there's some other things like, and you'll see these written elsewhere. So some more programming related things, good things to know if you're scripting out levels, right? Just basic logic things. So this is the XOR. So if you notice that opens the door, this will change the state, right? Or if there's nothing, right, that also changes it. So this one is either or. So if they're both in there, right, nothing happens. Or, right? So it doesn't necessarily work when both of them are on. It just needs one input. Doesn't matter which. The AND requires both. So even if I switch these here, right, because these are the same color, right, it needs both of them in order to work. So these little symbols kind of help tell you what you need to do. Do once. So it kind of keeps the power here. Even if I take that off, it's going to keep it right here. And this is with 2 power resets, so you can do this 1. Put it back, and then it keeps it, right? And some other little things you can kind of play with around here. The environment's pretty straightforward. These are just I'm trying to remember if these are BSP brushes or just meshes. Yeah, these are just meshes. So what I'm going to have y'all do is come up with a design for your map, and we'll have that be one assignment, and the next one will be to build out a map using these little interactive things here. So usually I would have people, work alongside with like a BSP or whatever. BSP, I don't think it's going to go away just yet, but things like Unreal 5 and whatnot, they're definitely trying some other methods for being able to build geometry, because this is just really slow. You're more than welcome to use that. I would suggest maybe looking at some of the other meshes that are in the project. So you do have some of these shapes here. Also, if you drag in, they've got cubes and stuff in here that you can drag material onto. Let's grab this and put it here. And what's nice about this material, it always stays aligned in the world, so which is quite nice. So if I put this here, kind of slide this over just a little bit, and if I change the scale here to be scale of 2, you can kind of get these things lined up just a little bit. There we go. I think my shape is off the grid just a hair. Oops, not 7202. Let's do 70. There we go. I have 950. Actually, I think it might be the one underneath that's causing the problem. I don't think this is perfectly aligned. Yeah, it's off just a little bit. But yeah, even just using these kind of shapes, right? You can kind of build out really interesting geometry. If you want to change the snap grid here, right, make it a little bit easier to snap geometry together, right? So if I start over here or something, it's like, hey, I want to make a floor. Let's go ahead and make it like 2 for the depth. Actually, let's do 1 for the depth. It's like a 10 by 10, right? And then if I stay on the 50 or 100 grid and keep these pretty much even numbers, right? So you can snap these things together. I'll take this and make it a little bit larger, a little bit taller at least. Let's change it to like 5. Scoot it over here. And then let's change this to like 3. All right, and if you wanted to make a ramp or something like that, could just take one of these things and scale it down, or you could rotate it a little bit. Kind of stick it together like that. If I find some other meshes for y'all to use, I will definitely send them your way. Just not necessarily worrying about the overall artistic side of things, more about for us to be able to build interactive spaces, and that's a big part of the class. Y'all are going to be using some art at some point, just a little bit, just to kind of learn how to decorate your scenes and whatnot. But I do want to make sure that we understand that like gameplay usually comes first for level design. If you're interested in doing more like world building and making models and things like that, I would definitely learn more about environment art or level art. But this class, especially just level design in general, really focusing on the gameplay side and the interactive stuff. That's our main focus. And see, just using some of these shapes, kind of playing around with some ideas. But yeah, I'll post details on exactly what I'm looking for the next assignment. And then in the meantime, y'all can download this, see what you think. Yeah, a lot of cool things you can do with this. It's fun playing around with some of these shapes here, see what you can get. It's kind of interesting. What if I had some cylinders I had to move between in some of these areas I had to use a moving platform to get on top of, but these were in the way. That might be kind of interesting. So yeah, just more of an exercise to kind of get you back in the swing of things. If you've been out of it for a while or haven't built anything since last semester before. So I will say though, while you're building, let me hit the stop key here. I have escape turned off on this version of the editor just so I can test out pause menu things. But yeah, if you hit escape, you should be able to jump out just fine. If you want to start building in your map, what I would suggest is going here to File. Let's do New Level, right? You can pick the default template. That's fine. I'm not going to save that. In your world settings, so settings, world settings, over here it says game mode override. If I hit play, right, this doesn't spawn the character. I'm like a spectator camera, right? So that's not going to work. So if we just change this here to, I believe it's, yeah, FPPT game mode, right? As long as you have a player starting here, I hit play, and now I can move around like normal, which is great. And then you can kind of go to town. So using some of these things in here and drag and drop, use some of those meshes. If you go to the basic tab in the place actors section, usually that's the modes panel, what used to be the modes panel over here. If you're using an older version, it'll look like this. That's over here now. Unreal 5 has its own version of that. Yeah, you can just drag in some of these shapes. See what you can come up with or build or whatever, and then we'll have you build an official map from that. So, yeah, be sure to save file, save as. You can save them in the maps folder here, levels, that's fine. Or if you want to create your own map folder, that is okay as well. These aren't going to be shared over the network through GitHub or whatever. I'm just going to have y'all send me a copy of your map. That'll be a lot easier. But yeah, if you have any questions about some of this stuff, let me know. I'll post the details for this for the next couple assignments, and y'all have a good weekend. Bye-bye.